Welcome, everybody, to another Kicking Tables. Today, we're delighted to welcome Matt and Rosie Parrish, the creators of Bots Up. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi there.
How are you guys doing? Are you excited to get your Kickstarter out there next week?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
excited,
Yeah.
nervous, anxious, all of the above. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why don't you tell us all about your game? Assume we know nothing about Bots Up. What is this game?
Cool. Do you want me to take it?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So, Bots Up is a fun competitive card game for 2 to 5 players. Totally playable for all the family. We think anyone from about the ages of 7 up can play, but even younger potentially. It's a battling card game, so you're interacting with other people, and the idea is that you build up a robot each out of a series of spare part cards. So you've got a little bot head, some arms, a leg, 2 legs, and a body. And the idea is that once you've built it up and improved it a little bit, you put it out into battle and you use action cards to do damage to each other, destroy parts, damage them, swap them, upgrade them, heal them up, so on and so forth. And there's a few sort of hidden powers in there as well.
Yeah,
So,
like steal other people's cards, look
Nice.
at other people's cards. Yeah.
Now,
Good
you
variety.
said you build up your robot before you send it into battle. Is that all part of the game? How do you build up your robot?
so it's sort of it's a kind of a creature creation style game with cards. So you have all the different parts are a separate card. So you kind of assemble it, you sort of stitch it together to create this bot. You start by drawing out cards. So you draw what you need at the start. So you've got this first round bot that you draw randomly. Then you can select parts that you want to upgrade, or at least gamble on upgrading. So you
Okay.
select you want to potentially try and upgrade. You swap them with the deck, and you kind of gotta choose if you hit or stick. I think like a little bit of a
And
calculated gamble.
that's a maximum of 2 cards as well.
So yeah, so you got a little chance to upgrade there. Then we had what's called a tuning stage. So one of the things that enables us to do damage to all of our different parts is that each of the parts have a different health total. So there's going to be some strong parts, some weak parts, and you want to get something that's quite strong. We have lots of different little health counters, which say if your arm is worth 7 health, you deal 4 damage to it, you replace it with a little 3 counter. So
Okay.
it's basically changes it.
You know,
At the start of the game, this tuning stage requires players to put 2 health counters onto their bot, but they have to equal 7. So you could put a 6 and a 1 on, which means you might have to weaken one, strengthen another, and you can consult your opening hand to work out how you want to distribute these counters. And this can come in kind of handy for later because some of the cards in your hand allow you to move health counters from your bot to another bot, heal them up, other things like that. So you can kind of synergize with what's in your hand. So that's sort of the build phase.
That's really
So,
fun.
yeah. So tell us, how did you guys come up with the idea for this? What was the inspiration behind, the game itself?
So,
Well, we first came up with the idea actually on our honeymoon. So as you do on a honeymoon.
Well,
So yeah,
I
we
was
just
going to say, I mean, shouldn't you be doing other things on a honeymoon? But, get,
we,
each
we,
their
we
own,
didn't we
yeah.
didn't know what to do. So
This is what people do, right?
I,
sure.
I think we've done it wrong, Sean. We went out, for our honeymoon. We didn't come up with a board game on our
No,
honeymoon.
that's what happened. That was the problem.
rookie error.
But yeah, so we were just in the bar and just started coming up with some ideas, bounced around concepts, and then just got a whole notepad of paper and just started ripping it up and just creating some cards.
Yeah, and people thought we were pretty weird. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, yeah, we had waiters and waitresses coming to our table, bringing us drinks, going, "What are you doing?" Like we're talking ripped up, probably gin-soaked paper at this point with pen written all over it and these
Yeah.
goofy commands and stuff. But that was 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So.
But
Was,
yeah,
was it always robots
reason
at the
for-
time? Was it always
Sorry.
to be robots?
You know what? It was weirdly, from almost word go, it was robots.
And part of that reason was if it's people destroying things, we just felt that a robot, there's less of that emotional connection to feel bad about killing it, whereas if it's like bunnies or
It also just the idea of like different parts just seems to lend itself.
Yeah.
It's weird that because the game does work with any theme, so you could
Yeah.
literally apply any animal, creature, anything to it. But when we were trying to put a name to it in the beginning, we went with robots, and
it just
it
seemed
kind of
cute.
Even though the first cards we made were just like H for head, A for arm, and stuff like that. So it was weirdly was robots, and we called the game Robots as a placeholder for about a year.
Yeah, we did.
So, how many different bot combinations can you put together with all of the different pieces? And
so the cards range from 2 health to 7 health, so you can have any combination of 2 to 7s. I haven't got the maths ability to work out just how many combos that is. I imagine quite a lot, like 6 parts, 7 different per part.
Eight different robots.
I'm not going to attempt that, but there's 8 different styles of robots, and all the robots have their own different weapons. So the 2 health bots sort of have very makeshift weapons. So we're talking like kind of kitchen spatulas and paintbrushes and things like that.
Bubble.
Through to the strong bots have things like chainsaws and laser guns. So,
and there's more of the lower value parts than there are the higher ones. So there's 2 lots of 2s, 2 lots of 3s, but then you've only got 1 4, 1 5, 1 6, and 1 7.
So you're more likely to get, it's rare to get the really strong ones, or rarer.
And the beginning of the game is just luck of the draw as to what parts you get to build your robot.
Primarily, yeah. So you start with a luck draw to get your bot. As I say, there's a little bit of agency in swapping, but not too much. The tuning phase with the counters does allow you to be a little bit strategic, but what we tend to find is that it doesn't matter too much how strong or weak you are at the start, because there's a lot of ways you can twist things once the battle starts. Like, for instance, even off the bat, like there's cards like bot swap and stuff where you can trade one of your parts for another player on the tables. You can pick up fresh parts off the deck once you get started. So there's kind of a lot of ways to plan around. So even sometimes having a weaker bot at the start can be beneficial if you've got a swap card in your hand, because you're going to give it to someone else.
Okay.
So there's lots of way around.
All right. So speaking of those cards, what are some of your favorites of the battle cards that you can sort of that take that battle card that you can drop on your opponent?
So. Do you want to do one each?
I really like the counter move, because so say I put there's a 1 health counter, it's damaged all the way down to 1. If I have counter move, I can move that 1 health over to a 7 health bot. So suddenly that's gone from a 7 to a 1, and then mine's now fully healed. So that's a really fun, like, complete flip on its head one.
That's a great card to really make it anyone's game. Like you could be losing and then just like that be winning.
Yeah, it's a good one, because as well you can engineer that. So there are cards that damage yourself in the game as well. So you can engineer it so you damage yourself and then give that low health to someone else.
Nice.
So there's sort of nice ways you can do that. I'm kind of torn between a couple. I like, for the names, I really like, we've got some AoE cards, things like Headsecution, Leg Explosion, and some fun which sort of deal mass damage to all the different parts. But one I quite like is we call it Escalate, and basically it does 2 damage to every part that has a health token on it. So again, you can set up for quite a big combo play by deliberately doing small damage here and there to people, and then setting up for this big play where you try and wipe everything out.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty epic. During the development of this, obviously you've been working on it for 2 years, what did you find was the most difficult part of the development? What was the most difficult thing to get right as you started playtesting, and what kind of changes did the game go through?
I mean, we have the big hurdle which we kind of got through this year, which we got stuck on. I think we'll start at that one. We had this thing where we kind of we got to the point where we were happy with the game, and it's not as we described it to you at the beginning of this. At the beginning of the game, you didn't always start with a full bot. Sometimes you only had some of the parts that you needed to play, and you sort of have to build them up later. But it really created this this visual issue with the game, because the game just feels nicer and looks nicer when you've got all these full creations of robots on the table. It just looks better that way.
But then also some people would get the luck of actually having a full bot, and then some people would draw like 4 arms and 2 heads, and then they're starting with a massive disadvantage. So we felt that making it so that everyone got a full bot at the beginning really helped to make it a bit more even.
And it uncomplicated thing. We had this big drafting system where you then had to. There was lots of versions of the beginning phase, which just frankly weren't as fun. But we'd kind of, I guess we made our peace with it in development once we tuned everything else, and it kind of took going back to it to really realize it was a sticking point. So we then rejigged the game. It involved redesigning all the card backs as well, so you could recognize parts from the other side. And it just felt like a breakthrough. It opened up a few more options for cards as well. So that was one sticking point in the middle.
It really showcases how important playtesting is with so many different people.
Yeah.
A lot of people were just used to it or just didn't find it a problem, and then suddenly a huge batch found that there was a problem. So yeah, it was very helpful.
And I'd say there's just one more thing that I reckon was problematic for us during this is that over-eagerness to print more prototypes with new design. Like, we get excited as graphic designers by changing our minds and wanting to see it printed again. So we have to hold ourselves back from new ones.
So I want to talk about your playtesting for a bit. Do you have any fun stories to tell during playtesting that you had other people do? Like, what was any memorable moments during playtesting?
I can think of just some certain memorable stuff. Like initially when we playtested, it was all doodles that you'd done like just with a Sharpie marker on our plain deck of cards, and there was a lot of hype over cheese leg.
Yeah, there was one which looked like
there was a robot which just had a leg that was a block of cheese, like Swiss cheese. It just got very popular with people. It didn't even make it into the main game again.
No, because we realised it was all a bit too random. We had to get a bit more uniformity. But yes, that was it. But another thing with playtesting, which was a bit different, was that we just had not made it even enough at all. And some of the parts of cards were way too strong that some people got destroyed before it even got to their turn.
Yeah, we did have a playtest where someone died before having a turn. So.
Wow.
It was hilarious. I've never laughed so much in my life, but
yeah,
not really appropriate.
Also, a balance thing that you can
yeah, we had a few balance tweaks. We also realized at that point that the game didn't quite work with 6 players, hence the 2 to 5. Because it was we found that
poor sixth person.
6th player just wasn't getting their turn and people picking on him.
Sitting there and dying.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you have any ideas of any of the stretch goals that you guys are looking for on your Kickstarter campaign? And is that anything of those secret? Can you share any with us?
I think we can tease a couple out.
Yeah.
So we've got a sort of bonus pack of cards that we're going to be working on. We've got a few that we already know what are. Some of them are going to be new cosmetics for bots. So at the moment,
Nice.
like if you've seen the previews, we've got everything's in this 3 colorways of yellow, pink, and blue. But we've got a pirate themed bot with sort of peg leg accessories and hooks for weapons and stuff like that, and some features. So that's one of our stretch goals that we're going to tease out there. But we've got plans for a full new pack of cards, and we've also got a little expansion as well that we're going to be putting out on the campaign too, which adds a lot of fun with a bunch of brand new rules. So,
and with some of the stretch goals, we're going to try and make it so that the backers really can actually decide what those are. So it's kind of like, do you want card A or card B, or do you want this type of bot or this type? So it should be a really fun, interactive campaign.
It's kind of theme that you really could make all these different types of robots. Like you were talking about, pirate robots, and my mind obviously just all of a sudden went to like vampire robots or whatever. Like that, it really does stick. As long as it's a robot, you could add a whole bunch of themes to it. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're actually really excited about that. So we really hope we meet our goals just so that we can do artwork for more different themes.
Yeah.
It's definitely good.
Do you guys have any goals to be out in retail as well, and in gaming stores?
I mean, eventually that would be great. To be honest, this is our first full gaming project. It's our first tabletop project, and at the moment we're focusing hard on the Kickstarter and trying to do as best we can there. And then, I'd say that yes, but we're kind of taking it one step as we go, and we just love to build a crowd right now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So September 15th is your Kickstarter, which is actually yesterday by the time this airs. So good luck to you. How long will it be on Kickstarter? Is it a 3-week, 4-week campaign?
We're going for the big 30 days.
Awesome.
So it'll be around for a while. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you know what? It sounds like it's so much fun, a great party game, and we wish you guys all the best on your campaign. We appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today.
Well, thank you
you
very
so
much.
much.
Thanks for having us on. If you fancy building up a fun and colourful bot and then having it ripped to pieces, you should definitely back Bots Up.
It's fun for the whole family, and you should definitely back it. And in the meantime, subscribe below. I'm just pointing at Matt.